Take your medicine, Victor said softly, the way a loving husband should. Claire Whitmore lifted the glass with both hands. The water trembled, just enough to betray her. She felt his presence behind her, close but not touching, a practiced distance that pretended to be respect. The pill lay on her tongue, chalky and bitter, dissolving too quickly. She swallowed because that was what she always did, because swallowing was easier than asking questions that never led anywhere. Victor smiled, relieved in a way that unsettled her. Good, he said. You'll feel clearer in the morning. Clearer. The word echoed in her head as he switched off the bedside lamp, and the room folded into darkness. Claire lay still, staring at the faint outline of a ceiling, listening to the house breathe. The air conditioning hummed. Somewhere far below, a security door clicked into place. She counted her breaths. 1, 2, 3. Her head throbbed, a dull pressure behind her eyes that had become as familiar as her own name. Or at least the name she still believed was hers. 6 months ago, she had stood in a boardroom in Manhattan and ended a hostile takeover with 3 sentences delivered calmly and without notes. Headlines had called her ruthless, brilliant, unshakable. Claire Whitmore, CEO of Whitmore Biotech, the woman who had inherited an empire and expanded it while the world watched. She had believed those words then. Now she lay in silk sheets, unsure whether she had already lived this night before. Victor's hand brushed her shoulder. Sleep, he whispered. I'll be right here. When his breathing evened out, Claire let her eyes close, though sleep did not come. It rarely did anymore. The mansion was quiet in the way expensive houses were quiet, engineered to muffle sound, to swallow it whole. The walls gleamed during the day, marble and glass reflecting light like a promise. At night, they felt closer, pressing in. Cameras watched the hallways. Staff moved silently, eyes lowered, as if sound itself were a violation. To the outside world, the house was a sanctuary. Victor Hale had saved the grieving heiress from isolation, the headline said. He had married her quickly after her father's sudden death, stepping in as protector, as anchor. Interviews showed him smiling beside her, his hand warm at the small of her back. Investors praised his steady influence. The board had agreed to give Claire time. She needed rest, healing. Inside the house, Claire felt like a patient. Her days were scheduled down to the minute. Breakfast at 8, even when she wasn't hungry. Walks in the garden, always accompanied. Meetings canceled at the last moment because she was too tired. Emails drafted for her approval that she did not remember requesting. When she tried to push back, Victor would tilt his head, concern softening his eyes. Claire, we talked about this, he would say. You forgot. At first, she argued. She insisted she remembered conversations that he swore had never happened. She searched her phone for proof, scrolling through messages that weren't there. The harder she pushed, the gentler he became, and the more frantic she felt. Stress can do terrible things, Victor told her one afternoon as she sat on the edge of the bed, struggling to lace her shoes. Especially after loss. Your father's death was traumatic. She had nodded then, because it was easier than explaining the fear that crawled up her spine when she woke each morning feeling like she had been gone. Eleanor Hale visited almost every day. Victor's mother moved through the house with proprietary ease, inspecting corners, adjusting flowers, commenting on Claire's posture. She spoke kindly, always kindly, her words wrapped in concern that cut deeper than cruelty. You've always been delicate, Eleanor said once, her fingers lingering on a leather folder she carried everywhere. There's no shame in that. Victor understands. He knows what's best for you. The folder had been labeled medical guardianship. Claire had seen it when Eleanor set it down on the dining table, had felt a spike of unease she could not name. When she asked about it later, Victor laughed gently. Paperwork, he said. Just in case. Just in case of what? Claire wondered. The question slipped away before she could ask it. The cracks in her reality appeared slowly. A notification from the bank about a transfer she did not recognize. Victor assured her she had approved it during an episode, showed her a signature that looked like hers but felt wrong. A nurse arrived twice a week to administer vitamin drips, smiling as if they were old friends. Claire did not remember hiring her. The worst mornings were the ones that began with pain. She would wake with a stiffness in her neck, a soreness that lingered no matter how she stretched. Sometimes there were small bruises on her arms, yellowing at the edges as if they had been there longer than she realized. Once, she touched the back of her neck and flinched at a sharp, burning sensation. "You thrash in your sleep," Victor explained calmly when she mentioned it. "You always have." She wanted to believe him. She wanted to believe that the man who held her at night could not also be the reason she felt like she was disappearing. Doubt was exhausting. Trust required less energy. That was why the sound of her phone vibrating at 2:17 in the morning felt like an intrusion from another life. Claire blinked, disoriented, and reached for it before she could stop herself. The screen glowed, too bright in the darkness, a single message waiting. "Check the medicine. Don't swallow it. He's done this before." Her heart slammed against her ribs. She read it again, and again. There was no name, no number she recognized, no way to reply. Her first thought was that it was a mistake, a prank, a wrong number sent into the void. Her second thought, sharp and cold, was that someone else knew what she felt but could not prove. Someone believed her. Claire sat up slowly, careful not to wake Victor. The room felt different now, the shadows heavier. She thought of the folder in Eleanor's hands, the transfers, the nurse, the mornings she could not remember. He's done this before. The words wrapped around her like a warning bell. Before meant pattern. Before meant intent. Her phone vibrated again. Nothing new. Just the echo of the first message, burning into her mind. She lay back down, eyes open, listening to Victor breathe. Each inhale sounded deliberate now, measured. She wondered how many nights she had fallen asleep without questioning it, how many mornings she had woken diminished. When Victor stirred an hour later, she was still awake. "Can't sleep," he murmured, rolling toward her. She forced a smile she hoped looked tired rather than terrified. "Headache," she said. It was not a lie. He reached for the nightstand, the movement so familiar it made her chest tighten. The glass of water, refilled. The pill, white and unremarkable, resting in his palm. "Here," he said gently. "This will help." Claire took it. The pill felt heavier than it should have, as if it carried more than medicine. Her fingers closed around it, and for a moment she considered dropping it, letting it roll across the floor, shattering the routine. Fear held her still. Victor watched her closely, eyes intent, his expression unreadable. She lifted the glass. The message flashed in her mind like a flare in the dark. "Check the medicine. Don't swallow it." For the first time since the headaches began, since the days started slipping through her fingers, Claire made a choice that belonged only to her. She brought the pill to her lips and let her tongue close around it. And she did not swallow. Claire lay on her side, facing the window, her back to Victor. The pill rested beneath her tongue, chalky and bitter, dissolving just enough to make her mouth water. She kept her breathing slow and even, counting silently, matching the rhythm she had memorized over months of restless nights. In through her nose, out through her mouth. Do not swallow. Her jaw ached from holding still. Saliva pooled, threatening to betray her. She swallowed carefully, only the saliva, letting the pill remain tucked against her molar. Her heart hammered, so hard she was certain Victor could hear it, feel it through the mattress. Minutes passed, or maybe seconds. Time stretched and warped the way it always did at night. Victor shifted behind her. The mattress dipped as he leaned closer. Claire resisted the instinct to flinch, to roll away. She focused on the sound of the air conditioning, on the faint glow of the city beyond the curtains. "Claire," he whispered. She did not answer. His hand settled on her arm. The touch was light at first, almost tender. Then his fingernail pressed into her skin, sharp and sudden. Pain flared, hot and immediate. Claire clenched her teeth and stayed still. Her body screamed to react, but she forced herself into stillness, into silence. Victor waited. She felt his gaze on her, felt him watching for any sign that she was awake, aware, resisting. The pressure on her arm eased. He exhaled, long and slow, the sound of relief unmistakable. "Good," he murmured, more to himself than to her. The bed shifted again as he reached toward the nightstand. Claire's pulse spiked. She could hear the soft scrape of wood, the faint click of a drawer sliding open. She did not dare open her eyes. The darkness behind her lids felt safer than the truth waiting beyond them. A sharp scent cut through the air, clean and sterile. Alcohol. Her stomach twisted. She felt him lean over her, close enough that his breath brushed the back of her neck. Something cool touched her skin. A pause, just long enough for fear to bloom fully, unbearably. Then the sting. It was quick, precise. A thin line of pain at the base of her neck, followed by a spreading chill that seeped inward. Claire fought the urge to gasp, to cry out. She imagined herself sinking into the mattress, heavy and inert, just another shape in the bed. Victor withdrew. The drawer slid closed. The lamp clicked off, though it had never been on. She heard him settle back, his movements unhurried, confident. The chill deepened, spreading through her veins. Her limbs grew heavy, her thoughts sluggish. Darkness crept in at the edges of her vision, thick and inevitable. The last thing she felt was the mattress shifting as Victor turned away from her. When Claire woke, the room was flooded with pale morning light. For a moment, she did not know where she was. Her head throbbed, a deep, pulsing ache that made it difficult to think. Her mouth tasted metallic. Her neck burned. Memory rushed back all at once, sharp and overwhelming. The pill, the pressure on her arm, the sting. She sat up too quickly and had to brace herself against the headboard as dizziness washed over her. Her hand flew to the back of her neck. The skin was tender, a small raised spot throbbing beneath her fingers. It had been real. Claire swung her legs over the side of the bed, heart racing. Victor was gone. The room looked exactly as it always did, immaculate and undisturbed, as if nothing had happened, as if she had imagined it all. She padded into the bathroom and leaned over the sink, staring at her reflection. Her eyes looked brighter than they had in weeks, sharper, despite the pain. Fear was there, yes, coiled tight in her chest, but beneath it was something else. Clarity. She spat the pill into a tissue and flushed it down the toilet, watching it disappear. Her hands shook, but she did not look away. Downstairs, Victor greeted her with an easy smile. "Morning," he said. "How do you feel?" "Tired," she replied, keeping her voice soft, uncertain. She forced a small, apologetic smile. "I think the headache is still there." Concern flickered across his face, quickly smoothed away. "We'll take it easy today," he said. "No calls, no meetings." She nodded, the obedient wife, the fragile patient. Inside, her mind raced. Over the next few days, Claire became a careful imitation of herself. She missed appointments, asked the same questions twice, apologized often. Victor watched her closely at first, then less so as her compliance settled into a pattern. His shoulders relaxed. His tone grew lighter. Confidence made him careless. She paid attention to everything. She noticed the way Victor and Eleanor spoke without words, the brief glances that passed between them like signals. She noticed that the nurse's visits increased, that the bags she brought were labeled with terms Claire recognized from her own company's research. Sedatives, muscle relaxants, compounds that dulled awareness and erased memory. One afternoon, Eleanor left her purse on the dining table when she stepped into the garden to take a call. Claire's pulse quickened as she glanced toward the windows, then back at the purse. The house was quiet. The staff were elsewhere. She moved quickly, silently. Her fingers closed around a slim black card tucked into an inner pocket. It was marked with a small silver symbol she had seen Victor use on a door she was never allowed to enter. That night, when the house slept, Claire crept down the hallway toward Victor's private office. The cameras in this wing were inactive, something she had noticed during her walks, something Victor had likely forgotten to consider. Her breath caught as she pressed the card to the reader. A soft beep. The door unlocked. The office smelled of leather and cologne. The desk was immaculate, every pen aligned. Claire's gaze went straight to the safe set into the wall behind a framed photograph of her and Victor on their wedding day. She remembered that day, clearly, the weight of his hand on hers, the way his smile never quite reached his eyes. Her hands trembled as she entered the code she had memorized from watching him. The safe opened with a muted click. Inside were folders. So many folders. The first held photographs. Claire's breath hitched as she pulled them out, one by one. She was in all of them, lying in bed, on the couch, in a chair by the window. Her eyes closed, her body slack. In some, a syringe lay on the table beside her. In others, Victor's hand rested on her shoulder, possessive and calm. Her vision blurred. She forced herself to keep going. Medical reports followed. Diagnoses she had never received. Acute cognitive decline. Dissociative episodes. Recommendations for guardianship. The language was clinical, authoritative, designed to strip her of agency one page at a time. At the bottom of the safe was a thinner file, its label typed in stark black letters. Subject L. Turner. Claire opened it, dread pooling in her stomach. The contents were sparse. Intake notes. Dosagecharts. A brief psychological assessment. The final page held a single line. Status. Unrecoverable. Her hands went numb. She closed the file slowly, carefully, as if it might shatter if she moved too fast. The message from the unknown sender echoed in her mind. He's done this before. Claire replaced everything exactly as she had found it. She locked the safe. She left the office and returned the keycard to Eleanor's purse before anyone noticed it missing. When she lay down beside Victor that night, she kept her breathing slow and steady. He wrapped an arm around her, warm and familiar. "You're doing better," he murmured. "I can tell." Claire stared into the darkness, the weight of the truth pressing down on her. She was not sick. She was not confused. And whatever had happened to Elle, Turner had almost happened to her. Claire waited until the house settled into its afternoon, quiet before she made the call. Victor had stepped out for a meeting he insisted she was not well enough to attend. Eleanor had retreated to the garden with her ever-present folder, pacing slowly as she spoke into her phone. The staff kept their distance. No one ever lingered near Claire unless they were instructed to. She sat at the small desk in the guest bedroom, the only room without cameras, according to the map she had built in her head. Her phone felt heavier than it should have, as if it knew what she was about to risk. For days, she had replayed the evidence in her mind. The photographs, the reports, the file labeled with another woman's name, and a final word that made her chest tighten every time she thought of it. She could not do this alone. Nathan Hale answered on the third ring. "Claire." His voice carried surprise, then concern. "Is everything okay?" She swallowed. "No," she said. "It's not." There was a pause, the sound of movement on his end. "Are you somewhere safe?" She almost laughed at that. "I don't know anymore. I need to see you. Today." Another pause. Longer this time. "All right," he said carefully. "I can come by. Or we can meet somewhere." "Somewhere," she said quickly. "Please." They chose a small cafe on the edge of the city, far enough from the mansion to feel unreal. Claire told Eleanor she needed fresh air. Eleanor's eyes narrowed, but she allowed it, reminding Claire to keep her phone on and to be back before dusk. Nathan was already there when Claire arrived, seated near the window, his shoulders hunched as if he expected to be watched. He stood as soon as he saw her, pulling her into a brief, awkward hug. "You look tired," he said softly. "I'm not sick," Claire replied. The words came out sharper than she intended. She took a breath. "I need you to listen to me. And I need you to believe me." Nathan nodded, his expression serious. "Ido." She told him everything. She spoke quietly at first, haltingly, as if afraid the words might vanish once they left her mouth. She described the pills, the blackouts, the way Victor spoke to her when no one else was around. She told him about the night she pretended to sleep, about the sting at the base of her neck. When she reached the photographs, her voice shook. When she told him about the file, about Elle, Turner, she had to stop and steady herself. Nathan's face drained of color. His hands clenched around his coffee cup, knuckles white. "This is insane," he said when she finished. "Victor would never." "He already has," Claire replied. She leaned forward, her gaze locked on his. "I saw the evidence. He's drugging me. Eleanor knows. They're trying to take control of my company, of my life." Nathan looked away, staring out the window as if searching for something. "Why would he do this?" "Because he can," Claire said. "Because I trusted him." Silence stretched between them. The cafe hummed around them, oblivious. At last, Nathan turned back to her. "You're not crazy," he said quietly. "I promise you that. I'll help you." The relief that flooded her was almost painful. Her shoulders sagged, tension she hadn't realized she was holding loosening all at once. "Thank you," she whispered. They talked for another hour, planning in cautious fragments. Nathan suggested a lawyer he trusted, someone discreet. He offered to help her move money, to contact the board if needed. Each possibility felt like a lifeline. For the first time since the message had arrived on her phone, Claire allowed herself to imagine a way out. That hope carried her through the ride back to the mansion, through Eleanor's pointed questions, through the familiar walls that no longer felt quite as suffocating. She slept lightly that night, clutching the idea that she was not alone. It lasted until morning. Victor was waiting for her in the kitchen when she came downstairs, dressed and alert in a way that immediately put her on edge. He stood by the counter, a glass of water already poured, his posture relaxed. "Good morning," he said. "How did you sleep?" Claire hesitated. "Fine." He smiled. "Nathan called me." The room seemed to tilt. "He was worried about you," Victor continued conversationally. "Said you were having a rough time. Seeing things. Imagining patterns that aren't there." Claire's stomach dropped. "You talked to him?" "Of course," Victor said. "He's my brother. He cares about you." "We both do." Anger flared, hot and sudden. "You had no right." Victor stepped closer, his voice lowering. "Claire, listen to me. You shouldn't burden him with these fantasies. It's not fair to him. Or to you." She searched his face for the man she had married, the one she had believed in. What she saw instead was calculation. "You went behind my back," she said. Victor's smile faded. "I protected you." The word felt like a slap. "You should be grateful," he went on, his tone cooling. "Without me, you'd already be in an institution. Or worse." There it was. The truth, stripped of gentleness. Claire's hands curled into fists. "You drug me," she said. "You lie to me. You steal from me." Victor's eyes hardened. "I manage things you're not capable of managing right now." Eleanor appeared in the doorway, drawn by the tension. She took in the scene with a single glance, then stepped fully into the room. "What's going on?" she asked. Victor did not look at her. "Claire had another episode," he said smoothly. "She ran off yesterday. Met with Nathan. Told him some very concerning things." Eleanor's gaze settled on Claire, assessing. "I was afraid of this," she said. "We've been patient. Perhaps too patient." Claire felt the walls closing in again, faster this time. "You knew," she said to Eleanor. "You knew what he was doing." Eleanor's lips pressed together. "Everything we've done has been for your own good." Victor set the glass of water on the table with deliberate care. "We can't let this continue," he said. "Your condition is deteriorating." "I'm not sick," Claire said, her voice shaking now despite her efforts. "You're poisoning me." Victor sighed as if disappointed. "This is exactly what I mean." He met her gaze, his expression unreadable. "We're going to adjust your treatment," he said. "Something stronger. More effective." The word sent a chill through her. "When?" she asked. "Tonight," Victor replied. Eleanor nodded once in agreement. "It's for the best." Claire looked from one to the other, understanding settling in with brutal clarity. There would be no more half measures. No more waiting. Victor reached for her arm, his grip firm. "Try to rest today," he said. "You'll need your strength." She pulled away, retreating up the stairs, her mind racing. Every step felt heavy, as if the house itself were pushing back. By the time she reached the bedroom, her heart was pounding. Tonight. She closed the door behind her and leaned against it, breathing hard. Fear threatened to overwhelm her, but beneath it was something steadier now. Resolve.